Okay, this is a new another live here for today. And today what we're going to do is we are going to learn about Ratatouille. And so that is something that I need to do anyway, because I want to add it to my AIP kind of command line. So this is a good thing to do. And I was saying, well, why not doing it live? So this is what we're going to do today. Learn Ratatouille. And I'm going to learn it kind of live here. And then eventually I might do a full intro tutorial kind of video like I do often for things. But here in a way you have the behind the scene. So that is going to be pretty cool. Okay. Feel free to send comment and everything if you have any question about anything. That is always good. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to start like that. We have our git ignore. And then we're going to start our cargo to ML. And I already have a little bit of a guy here, which probably I can jumpstart like that. So I'm going to use the xp-ratatui. So that is my best practice. And it's going to be unused at the beginning because I don't want that to kind of slow down my development. This is, to be honest, I already kind of play a little bit around it, but I'm not an expert in Ratatouille and stuff, so we're going to learn it together. But this is the thing that you need to have. You need to have features because we're going to play with features quite a bit. And we need to have the features timer, which is recommended for the cross-term events. We're going to learn that later. We're going to use clap. We don't really need clap in this one. Well, let's not add it if we don't need it in a way. So then here's all of the clear things. We're going to use a Ratatouille, which I think is the latest one, should be this one. Let's see. I need to put that there. And if we do a crates and Ratatouille 029, yes. And then this guy is the cross term here. We're going to use the latest version, which I think is also 29, cross term. That's what's called that I had a while back, so I want to make sure. Thanks. So the Ratatouille is kind of a framework to build your terminal UI in a way. And then the cross term is the thing behind it that does a lot of the terminal kind of magic to do the thing, to display things in a way. So usually you use Ratatouille and you use a backend, and the default backend is cross-term. And then we're going to use, and you still need to import cross-term for the events. We're going to learn about this. And then this one is, I don't remember this one. I use it like this. An error report handler for panic. Okay. Yeah. So I used it because I think it was used somewhere else in an example. So not sure. Now, the cool things about this is I am going to put readme.md, and we're going to do something pretty cool. If you are here, this is, I would love that. So I created a repo over there, which is on my Jamie Chon channel here, this one. I'm going to put it in the chat. Hey, Max. There's nothing right now, but what I'm going to do, and usually my best practice is to do something like that, because otherwise I always waste time to find the repo. So I like to put it like this. Come on, git add. And git log, and that is initial, it's fine. I'm going to have I'm going to add this. Yeah, it's kind of a weird way of doing it, but that's fine. And I'm going to git log and git amend. And we are going to do a git push. GPO, git push origin. Oh no, I need to do the stuff first. I'm going to add that remote. And then I'm going to do that. That should push it there. And now you have it there. So if you want, you can clone it, play with it, make your fork, have fun. So it's going to be pretty cool. Okay, so the way here that goes to my head is, do I create the source myself, or do I use my little AI pack to create the workflow? Is always fine. I think I have some things there. Yeah, very good. I have the copy paste here, so I'm going to do that. Don't feel afraid to use AI. I have an AI pack with my best practices, which is cool. But here it's exactly that. So my best practices is, again, I have my error. I use Derive More. I'm a big fan of Derive More, the version 2. And actually, I use often display now, which I don't know if we need display. Well, we'll see. And that is a way, such as I have custom. I don't have to think too much about things. And that is, yeah, the way that I do it. There's one that is missing here, but we can add it later. And now we're going to do the lib. So the way that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a librs, and that is my XP pattern. So if you are following my previous videos and everything here, the way that I like when I learn a library, I don't learn in the application code, because otherwise it goes crazy. Yeah. And so I had this XP business. And in fact, if you want to see, this is going to be a little bit scary for some. It's a lot of XPs. Yeah. So this is all of the XP Actix, Agentic, which is Migrate, AI Function, Axum, Blake 3, Burn, Crossterm, and so on and so on. Yeah. So I have a lot of things like that. So when I learn something, I often do this pattern. And then what I do is, usually I have an empty one, but in this case, I'm going to have my lib like that, where I'm not going to export the error, this one, but I'm going to have my lib, and we're going to understand why later, because I want to actually begin to create the libraries that I would like to have in my application as submodules or as subcrate. And so then the way I like to learn is I do examples, and then I have C01, chapter 01, simple.rs. And the goal of the simple RS is to have the simplest example of how we can make something work, say the hello world of this case. So that is a way I like it to do. Now, in fact, I have a little bit, one over there. I'm going to do that, actually. I'm going to bootstrap. I have a little one that bootstrap. Usually I don't like to do that because I like to create, line by line, but we're going to do that on the simple right now. And this is, we have our cross-term events. So that is the way it works here with the key code and key event kind and so on. And that is what we need for Ratatouille. So that is the thing. And this hello world does nothing. I do a print hello world. We're going to keep it there. We're going to see why. And then we do a terminal, and we're going to init. So when we init the terminal, basically Ratatouille with Crossterm as a backend, I think, will take control of the whole terminal. So even the keys. So it's not going to be like when you do a std in read. Every key press will have to be managed in a way. And so that is a good way to have the best experience, the best terminal UI, kind of, in a way. Here we are doing a clear, I think, and that, if I understood well, is going to, clear the terminal and force a full redraw of the next draw call. So that is what we want to have, I think. Now, the thing I'm thinking in my head is to say, and force a full redraw of on the next draw call. Okay, on the next draw call. So there's no draw call yet. And then we have our results. And usually all the tutorials that you are going to see, which is what we're going to do, they have an app structure, a struct, and then you do run, and then in the app, you have the state and everything. We're going to look at that probably in the C02 or whatever, but right now I just wanted to say, okay, I create a terminal object, which is going to be a terminal cross-term backend. So that's good. We do the clear, and then I just want to run the terminal, which is a function of mine. And then here we're going to do a couple of things, and it's a little bit upside down compared to some examples, but you are going to understand why is we're doing a loop, and then we're going to do a terminal draw. So that is the terminal object that we have there. We have a draw command that takes a frame. So that is something from Ratatouille. And from Ratatouille, I pronounce it the French way, I guess, we have some things like that. And that is a Ratatouille type. It's a Ratatouille widget. So you can say a paragraph and you say, hello, press Q to quit. And then I added a little kind of silly counter over there. And everything here is not async. There's not multiple threads. Everything is blocking. And it's completely fine because I am in my C01 simple. And that is the way I learn. I don't want to learn too much too fast. Yeah, the goal is for the thing to stick in the brain. It's not how fast you stack in the brain. So it's about sticking. It's not about stacking, if I want to be fancy. So the thing I'm saying is to say that now I have the paragraph new, I do format, silly stuff. I print this guy, which will be a 1 at the beginning. And then I call the render the widget. So that is the way it works. You create your widget and then you render it and you say all the frame. So that is a little bit the way it works. And so everything will be rendered. And then this is super ugly. Don't do your application like that, but it's to learn again. We are going to do an if let, and then we are going to block on the read. And that will be any key I'm going to press. I'm going to have the key event. And that guy is cross-term. Yeah? So those guys are cross-term. So Ratatouille didn't override or wrap these guys. He say, hey, use cross-term to read the command line. For the rest here, it's using cross-term at the backend. Obviously, I could use another way to read the input if I wanted to, but that is probably the way that works very well there. And then we have the events, and so read. So that is blocking. So I do a ki, command ki. This function blocks until the event is available. Combine it with poll function to get non-blocking reads. We are going to take care of the non-blocking later, because one of the things that I want to do here in this series, I think, of Ratatouille, is to structure the application, and that will be a mini application, might have a main at some point, but to structure the application in a way that it's a scalable application. I don't know how to say it, but to treat the terminal UI as a real UI, almost like a web UI. So we're going to have a real backend, which will be in the same process, but backend data and everything. In fact, the thing I'm thinking for my AIPack command line, AIP, is to use SQLite. So to actually really look like if I had a real application. So that is going to be pretty cool. In this example here, I just wanted to say, I draw the whole thing, and then I wait for the next key. And if it's Q, then if it's Q is pressed, then we quit. And if not, then we do loop. And the loop will add again, and we'll add the things there. Very simple. CWE, which is cargo wash dash Q dash C dash execute. And then run dash dash example, and we're going to do C simple. So that is a little kind of shell alias that I have. And that will compile the business, and then we'll draw like that. And the cool things about this is, no, okay. Here's the thing. Yeah. So this is actually pretty cool to understand. And so the thing that I like about this approach, C01, C02 and everything, is we can understand step by step. So here what I want to understand is what is a frame size? What is this area of business? How big it is? When I resize, does it resize? And all these kind of things. So here, since we are drawing and we're waiting for a key and there's no key, it's not looping back, yeah, because here I'm blocking here. Again, this is not what we want to do in the production. And we're going to change that very quickly. But the point is, because I'm blocking, it's not redrawing. But as soon as I press K, for example, then it will redraw. And so now we can know that frame.area is a whole area. It's fair to assume. And the render widget takes a frame of the draw terminal, and then it render the widget, which is a greeting widget, which is our paragraph over there, which is a built-in widget, and then that will be the whole area of the thing. So that is pretty cool. And then we wait for this guy, and then if it's Q, then we go back, and then we have our hello world now. And now I can do a command C because I was on a cargo watch business. So with that little example here, we already kind of learned quite a bit. So typically, if we go, so the thing here, and I'm going to learn now. So now this was my head start. Yeah, so the thing here is usually that is not the example. What they say, what they do, and we're going to do that. So I'm going to add this, git add, git C, and then I'm going to do something like, we added C01, I guess, simple, and then I'm going to push it. Okay, so you are going to have it on your end. Now, one thing that we're going to go is they have an awesome doc. So if we go to Ratatui, Rust, they have an awesome documentation over there, and that is cooking terminal interface. Rust is a Rust crate that provide widget, and then they have the concept over there. So they explain the concept. One thing that is important is that, as you see, every time you render the whole thing. So you will render all of the widgets in a way, in the whole tree. It's often called immediate mode, which means that you don't create a widget that each widget should update themselves in a way, but the UI, the flow is to redraw everything all the time. What you don't want is you don't want to have something like that where, for example, you have something that loop all the time. Because if you have that, we're just going to do a cargo run, I guess. Cargo run -- example. If we do that, you see you are going to go crazy up. And so you don't want that because you don't feel that you say, oh, it's no big deal, but that actually made the CPU work for nothing. So this is one of the things that we're going to learn how to manage over there. So, and by the way, I don't have any more ways to kill it, because it was going haywire because I didn't listen to the key anymore. So we don't want that. Now, the other way of doing it will be a simple C02. And we're going to do key event, yes, .rs. And that will be, we're going to take that, we're going to do that. And now we're going to go back to the doc here. And so there's going to be two things that I want to do. One is to say that I don't want the I don't want to wait. So if we go to the example, I'm going to show the example. They have some very cool examples. Showcase what it was. So we can go with Tokyo, I guess. Let's see if we can find. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger for everybody. And they had some pretty good example. So the Helm architecture. So this is this one. We have the user input message GUI application. And then we base on the model. We render the view and we return. So that is a basic one, I guess. And then if we go down, we are going to see that we have the model. And then we have the model like that. Nat Tran, I don't know how to pronounce the name. And running state. Yeah. And we could do that. And then they pass the model. But one thing which is funny is like for me, actually, I'm going to use the web app architecture that I have. Because in fact, if you think about it, if it's a backend of a web app, if it's a backend of a Tori app, or backend of a Ratatui, it's the same kind of architecture. So in many ways, in Rust 10x, I have these things here over there. So if I go there and I go to let me try to see if I have trying to see if I have the good so if I go to my Rust 10x, it's kind of an old doc over there, blueprint overview. Yeah, so this one, yeah. So in some of the architecture here, what I have is I have this web layer, the IPC, and then I have the event, and then the model, and then the store. And so in the store here, that is where we're storing the data. And my thinking is I'm going to use SQLite to store many of my data, even if it's in memory only, because it's actually give me a good kind of model. And then I'm going to have my BMC, my what I call backend model controllers that will do the model controller. And then on top of it, I will have my Ratatui. Yeah. So in fact, what I want to have is more kind of rather to have this loop here where I will, if we're going to take, let's take one of the examples here. We're going to take one of the examples. They had some good one. Render UIs and displaying text. Use widgets, block. Just before I found the whole. I found a little example which was very cool. Or developer guide, perhaps. No. Widget. Oh, these guys. Okay, block. Yeah, so that is what I found out. So what we don't want is, we don't want that, yeah, because, well, so it's funny, they're doing the same thing. They draw and then they take the key. That is the model that we had, and it's a blocking key. And so what we want to have this async kind of way. So in top of my head here, I mean, the design that I'm coming with is there's two types of events that we are going to listen to say we need to redraw. So we know that what we don't want is we don't want something like that redraws all the time. That is not an option. If we put the event at the beginning, the problem is if the data update, then we don't update the UI, which is kind of a pain. Even if we were a blue hub here, even if we use a poll here, it will be kind of tricky. So in one of our examples here, I have another example. Let me go to this one, I think. So I'm going to leave this one like it is, and I'm going to go back to this one, and I'm going to do that. So this one is another example that I was working on, and is one of, oh, but is it the, oh no, it's a cross term only. Okay, so this is a cross term only, but basically, so in this example, I say I'm not going to use Ratatouille, I'm just going to use the cross term business to see how we can do polling of events, key events, such as we do not have to do a blocking call, such as we give a way for the Tokyo to breathe a little bit and to give work to others. The way it does here, it does this kind of way where, so when you do a blocking, it does everything behind the scene. When you don't do a blocking, what you do is you do a delay like that, and then you fuse it because you want to have, that is the way that the Tokyo select works. And then you do a select on the delay and on the event. Yeah? And so this way you kind of loop through, and if there is nothing, it will loop back up and it will do the delay. But if the event comes in first before the delay, then it will go here. And then you can do a print stuff. So that is a way that you are using, there's no Ratatouille here, but that is a way that you are using the event stream new rather than doing this crazy block here that we have, event read, which is okay, but it's really blocking on this thread. What we could do also that I think is valid, where does he, yeah, this is just, will be to create a thread that does these kind of things and that will do this work. So my plan here, the architecture that I'm going to design for my applications and that I will do a video on, and I'm building it right now, so I don't have the whole thing in my head, but I have the high level. It's going to be something like that. I don't know why I put it under code, but it's going to be something like that where I want the key events to send the event, yeah, so they will send event to, this is very ugly, but to one of a central queue, and then I'm going to have the data change event that will also go like, oh my God, like that, and then those will go to my event loop here of Ratatouille. Yeah, so this way, I'm going to use channels here, and I'm going to have one loop, one task that will look at the key data events, and then I'm going to have another guy that will listen to the data changes. Okay? And so with this model here, that will allow me that now my goal is, so we're going to keep that, we're going to call it that CT for now. In fact, we're not going to keep it too much. This I'm going to call, yeah, async keys. Okay. So we're going to call it like that. We're going to leave it there, I guess. So that will be, this file here will be the file that will show how to do this pattern. And this pattern, here's the way that I found it. I found it in Rust, cross term. And if you do to Rust cross term, you have examples, which is awesome. Oh, this is not where. So I think I did it in the repository. That's crazy. I was there 5 minutes ago. Interactive demo, source. No? Okay, I think it's here. Okay, event stream, Tokyo. So that is the example here that they are giving us. So the nice things about going there is that we are pretty sure that the author of the library say, this is a good way of doing it. So basically, we're going to have an event that will loop through that. And then here we'll do select. And here, rather to do the work, we will send the event to the app. So that is a little bit kind of the plan that I have in the head. So right now, if we have this file, and we're going to do a CWE, C02, CT async. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not happy with the name, but that's fine. CT async key. And now that will send. And in fact, what we see as well over there, just because I kept the example, they even read the mouse event, which is actually pretty impressive. So if we really wanted to do the mouse event, we could do that as well. And then if we press C, we'll press, so mouse down, we have this, and then we have this kind of behavior. So it's pretty cool. So now I don't even know that, I don't even know how to quit the thing. I don't even know that I've done a quit. Oh yeah, escape. Okay. And then because I was on cargo watch, I need to do a command C, a control C. So now this is the way it works. Yeah. So the way it works again on this CD1 is we are printing an event, and then we have our function print events, which is called from main, I guess. So it enables the raw mode. So it's important that you enable the raw mode, but when we do a Ratatui init, I do things that they enable the raw mode by default. Get the std out to make sure that we can execute the mask capture. Oh, that's funny. And then they call. So we have to call that if we wanted to have the mask capture, but I'm not planning to do that for a while. And then we print events like that, await, so that will always go out. And then at the end, it's disable the mask event and it's disable the raw mode. So it go back to a normal mode. So that is what they are doing. So that makes sense. So I'm going to go git add and C02, git add, and then git C. I'm not actually happy with this name here. I'm going to not put it in things. I'm going to put it in C50. Because I don't know if I want it. It's just a cross-term thing, such as we have the code there. Git add, and I'm going to say, cross-term only. Okay, so that will be the thing, and then I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do git add and git C plus C50 CT async key. So now I have this. I'm going to push it so as you can play with it. And what I want to do here is this kind of design again. I want to have my key events that I will send those events, the one that I have in my print here. I'm going to send those. So these guys, they are like event from cross term, I guess. Yeah. And I want to send those to a channel. And then, such as I can also send eventually later, having other kind of type of data. So that is what I want to do. So in fact, I might create, the thing I'm saying is, I might go directly there now. And I might create pub mode event. I will do that. And that will be event. Yeah. The reason why I'm doing that is because now everybody is going to be event because, so, but we'll see. I'm going to call it app event actually. It's not super proud of it, but it's good. And then pub enum, and then I'm going to have app event. And now in the app event, I'm going to have two guys. I'm going to have the key events, and that is going to be my cross-term event. So that should be cross-term event. Event. That's what to say? Yes. And then later, I'm going to have my data events. Yeah, so I'm going to have my data events. And I'm going to have a pub enum data event. And I'm going to have data change. And in the data change for now, I'm going to have just that one actually. I don't want anything else. Yeah. So I could have data update, data create, data delete kind of things. And then I will do something like this, will be the ID and then the type, the kind of type or whatever we want. And that might be a string. And so this way I know which data has been changed. The goal here is not to repeat the data there. The goal is to say this data had changed or something like that. So that will be something that I will have. And right now I just want to have a data change such as we can test it. And so we're going to have this, and then we're going to have pub mode data event. That is the two guys that I want. Now, what I'm going to want is that construct over there, which is, so this is a little bit more of an XP. I'm already kind of creating a little bit the libraries that I want to have. And then I can come back later to do the things. But this is kind of important because that is kind of the model I want. And so I'm going to have mode events, and then I'm going to have, we're going to call pub mode std in reader. I don't know if that. T in terminal input reader. It's table name, but again, that will do like that. We're going to read that there. And what we're going to do now in this teen reader is we want to do this in async. And we want to take a channel a TX of a channel, because we are going to want to send that event to this kind of thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. Yeah, that is going to be exactly what I want. And it's going to be a little bit more work, but once we have that, the things that I'm trying to implement here is this guy, such as all of these guys will end up sending app event. And then that goes to my TUI app or whatever I want to call it. So this is kind of the goal a little bit of the design here. So to do that, I'm going to say run. I like to say run tin read. The name is terrible again, but it's terminal input read. Yeah. And then it will take a TX. That will be a app TX. And we're going to use right now the sender. And we're not going to be super smart. We're going to use a sender of Tokyo. And then we're going to pass it the app event. Now it complains. And why do they complain? Because I think cannot find app event, fair enough. And then cannot find, no, this is not at all that. Didn't find this guy. I wanted MPSC Tokyo. I'm being slow here. Why I don't see Tokyo MPSC sender? Oh, that's funny. Am I missing something here? I see the broadcast. Oh, yeah. It's last. It was in the other order. So that is cool, yeah? Because now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to read the input with the event stream of Mr. Crossterm. This is a delay that we have from the futures timer. That's the way that they're telling us to do it. So we're not going to be very creative there. And that the fuse is a future extension. Okay. And then this one is future stream. So there's quite a bit, but the nice things, again, this code here, you can find it pretty easily under the Crossterm repo. And then you go to examples, and then it's this one, event stream Tokyo. So that they show us how they do a print. But for us, what we want is to actually do send events. And I'm doing that very early in a way, rather to learn everything, because I want to wire my things the right way in a way. And so now the select, this is a Tokyo business. That guy is a macro like that. And then the event, this is where, yeah, that's fine. Crossterm event. And then that is a key code. So we don't want that actually. We don't want that anymore. What we're going to want is to say, if we have an event, if we don't have an event, we just skip the whole thing, it's fine. If we have an error, we're going to do println. By the way, when you do println and you are in a full mode, it's going to print a little bit everywhere, but that's fine. And then if there's no event, it breaks. I don't know why we want to break here. There's a reason here. I'm not sure what it is. Because it's true, when you do next, it might be null, but what does that mean that it's saying known? I'm not really sure, but that's fine. So now if we have the event, so this guy is going to be the event. I don't know why I don't see the type, but I'm going to do something like that. Well, now I'm going to do a send event. That should work, no? Doesn't like it? Why it doesn't like it? Okay. Try wrapping the expression. Am I doing something silly? So let D event. I don't know why I don't see the type here. Why I don't see the type now? Oh, because I'm inside the macro here. Oh, that is annoying. I am inside this, and so sometimes the autocomplete doesn't work nicely. I'm going to do, what is this one? A fuse. What happened if we, so what? So that is a little bit, this is often a little kind of a pain in Rust. When things are inside macros like that, we don't see it very clearly. And so, what does it say? Try wrapping the expression. Or perhaps it's because I just, okay. Send, and so I want to make sure that it returns the same type. So if I do that, okay, so it's not needed, that's fair enough. And then try wrapping the expression in app event, key event. Okay. So I'm going to do something silly, but just to see what I'm missing. What if I do a match? Oh, wait. Fill arm event. So that is just a way here because I'm, okay, so if I am, okay, this is what we have there, yes? We have something like that. And then we're going to put our stuff here. So now I don't understand. What if I do that? So again, I'm going to move it downstairs, yeah, but I want to keep it this way. Okay, now I get the same error, so I'm happy. It's not good code. It's not the code I want to take, but it's actually what I want to keep. So now, what does it say? Try wrapping the expression in app key event. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Ah, that was silly. So here's a cool thing I like. Oh, that was dumb. This is an event of cross-term, and the send is an event of app event. So it was actually telling me the right thing there. So there's a cool thing here that we can use with derive more, and that is derive from. And that is from derive more. And this is awesome because now we just put from. I mean, we could do it our stuff, but. And then we'll do something like that, which will be a data event. Okay. And now, why does this guy complains? He shouldn't complain. Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. Data event. And so he complained because he said, hey, you have two guys, and I don't know which one should go there. So we're going to have the app event. And now, complaints again, but that's fine. We're going to go one by one. Conflicting implementation state. Oh, what am I doing? Probably shouldn't code that late. Event, and that is a data event. Okay, that works very nice. I'm the biggest fan of derive more. For display, for many things, it's a great. And now I just can do into. Okay, so that will basically into the message and we'll send it there. And so that is beautiful. And then obviously that is not a code. So we're going to remove it there. Now that we have it, It didn't really help much to go there, but sometimes, what am I doing? You're all being very patient with me. So that is pretty cool. And so now we have this guy. And this is actually super cool, because I'm going to do a C02, and I'm going to say app. Doesn't make any sense, but whatever. And now here's a way that I'm going to do. I'm going to copy this guy, I'm going to put it there. So this is my same stuff that I had before. But now I'm going to do, so what this one does, again, we can remove the print hello world. You start my terminal, my cross term, my Ratatui, does a clear, and then it runs the terminal. And the terminal here will run it like this. It will draw and then block on the key event. Now, what we can do is we are going to use that to start using our tin reader. In fact, we're going to call that tin reader, terminal input reader. Terrible name, but that's fine. And so now what we want, that's a bug of thing, is we are going to create, so init terminal, and here we're going to do our run application. And usually we will have the application and everything, but in fact it's going to be, again, very much like it's going to be the way I'm going to build, and the best practice is going to be very much like a backend applications and all these kind of things, where we might not have RPC, but might not have us, but what we'll have is the thing I was showing before, actually, which somehow I don't have it in my sketch. But we'll have this kind of architecture, yeah, with a model and the store, and then this one will send events that will get into these guys over there. And then the app will get the model manager, which is what we had in our Rust web app and everything, and we'll be able to query data. And so the goal here is to, on everything, to be able to query all the data. So that is going to be the goal. And so now we have run the application, the TUI application, kind of. And what we want is, we want here to read the keyboard events, to have same thing as here, but with our new tin reader business. So now we are going to create those guys. So we are going to create channels, and we're going to have our app. It's RX or TX, and app TX, I think. Whatever, we'll see. And we are going to let Tokyo doing the job here. And this is not that, it's going to be app event. Okay, we're going to import app event. So that's why I have a lib here, because now when I do my example, I can go slowly and then build my design over there. And this is not going to be the final design, but I can go slowly and then build on it. And so now what we're going to do is app TX. So is that really the sender? No, it's the other way around. So TX and RX. Okay, so that's pretty cool. The RX is going to be the one given there. So that should take a receiver of app event, and that will be our app Rx. Okay. And why does it complain over there? It should be happy, no? Okay, it's not the same. App event is not the same receiver. Damn it. What is this? Receiver business? Receiver here. Okay, fair enough. So we are not going to do. We're going to do that. And you're going to understand why, because I'm trying to Q. I don't want that, not that, not this one. On this guy, and now I should be able to have, to avoid mistake, have receiver like that. And that should be pretty good now. So we're going to have this guy, which is the app.tx and the app.rx. And that means that now we can do this. And so we're going to start the teen reader. And wait here. So what we want here is that the teen reader, we want to run it in its own task. So we can do a spawn. Yeah, we could do. Yeah, I will do a task here. So I will do a Tokyo spawn. And sometimes I messed up a little bit the syntax. I'm going to let Mr. Copilot do that. And so I'm going to let handle. So that will return a join handle. And we're going to have a result. And that will be our result over there. So that is a pattern that I have. The result of the crate. And that will return the join handle of Tokyo. Of void for now. And all of that now will go there. Now we have an infinite loop inside. That is what we have. That's pretty cool. There's an error here somewhere. Oh, interesting. Yep, I didn't export that. So I'm going to do one. No, it's one export result. I don't re-export. Okay. So now I re-export those guys, and in fact, I didn't even have error. So that's my pattern. I should have credited it with my little AI. It would have done it pretty well. And then now, oh, correct result, I had that. And now the only thing that we want is, okay, handle. Okay, so that is pretty cool. We have this one, the run. So my pattern is I like to have run that does their own spawn inside it. And then they return the join handle, such as if I want, I can join somewhere else. And so we're going to do that. Well, we're going to do the run. Tin. Oh, that's funny. Perhaps it's because I didn't put it public. And that's good. And then we're calling this one, and I'm going to give a clone. What do I'm giving a clone? Yes, I want to give a clone because, and here I need to, this one shouldn't need to be async. I don't need to be async. If you don't need to be async, don't be async. And that will be the let tin read handle. Okay, so that is the way, and that's pretty cool. So now I have my tin handle here, and I'm going to, yeah, question mark. I'm not really sure why. I don't even, could it fail? I don't even know if it could fail. No, I don't even think it could fail. No. So anyway, I'm keeping that. This one I'm not very happy, but that's fine. Then, so this guy is going to read and is going to send event there. And then we're going to run our stuff. This seems to be very silly, but it's actually, I'm pretty happy with that. Again, this is more work that I needed to do for myself, so I just do it live in a way. So I don't have any, expectation of the live. But the point was that now the cool thing about this is that I can give my app.tx to other part of my systems. And now they will all send to my TUI app. And my TUI app will just need to kind of do a loop on, result to say on keys or whatever, it will do the loop on the app event. And the app event can be different things. And then this guy can decide what to do. So that is pretty cool. So now what we want to do is something like that. This one, I'm thinking in my head here, we're doing a run. It's funny. This one is on the main thread. Okay, that's fair enough. So what we want is run TUI. And again, that usually, it's a good pattern to put it into an app, but I wouldn't put the data inside the app. Sometimes you see code where you have the data inside the app of the TUI run, and I don't think it belongs to the same guy. The model manager will belong there, but the data might not happen. So now we're going to do a run TUI, and we're going to follow the same process as the other guy, which is going to return a result of join handle. And the result here is we have this result boxed in. So we have two ways of doing it. We can use our crate. Let's use a crate result actually. Going to be so use XP. So that is our XP-ratatui, and we're going to do our result over there. And now we're going to do that. So here I'm jumping the gun a little bit because this is going to be pretty cool because it's going a little bit one step ahead where we're already doing our library. So it's more than what I was expecting to do. But I like that because then I build the right setup for it. And so now this one is John handle of void. That will be Tokyo. That will do the run TUI. And that will be a question. We don't really want to have a question mark because we want to make sure that we do that no matter what. So we can, app result. Actually, we want a question mark if it fails. Can it fail? Well, so first, this is a run. So per my best practices, and I'm trying to always stick with it, I'm going to have that pattern, which is basically is going to run its own task. And I'm going to return the handle. Now, the question is, can it fail or not? I'm not even sure it can fail. This one, we're going to have to handle it now, because when it's in a closure, it needs to print or something. That the loop, okay. So I'm going to do an expect here. I don't like that at all, but so that is bad because for production, if you leave it there, then it will crash basically. So typically we want to solve to change that and to decide what do we do. Do we stop the task? But there's kind of a decision to be made there. So that is pretty cool. We have our run TUI kind of return that guy. And so now we're going to do something like, I will put that in a function, but that's fine. I'm going to do a match. But even here, I need to be careful about that. The thing I need to be careful here is we want to have the Ratatui restore no matter what. So what I'm going to do is I'm going rather to have all of these kind of things. And in fact, this one even, yeah. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do something like that, which is going to be, because I want to make sure that no matter what, we call that. So rather to, for every function where I have a question mark to deal with it, I'm going to have something like this, which is going to be, I'm going to make it async for now. Async fn start app. And then I'm going to do a result of void. That's fine. And then I'm going to do this. So that will kind of work nice because now I can return error. I don't really care. And this one is async and this one is going to be async, and this one we are going to wait. So we have the app. So that is the TUI handle. So we have this tool handle. And the question is, which one should we wait for? We're going to wait for that one for now. Wait. That is probably this way. Boom. Okay. And that is the terminal here, which is going to be terminal. And that is kind of a mouthful full of terminal. I don't like that. What does that mean? This is going to be, I don't know if it's going to be easy. So Ratatui terminal, and then cross them. So sometimes that is where it's not super easy, backend. And that is where I'm not even sure because it doesn't say. No, perhaps. Can I do like that? I don't think so. And that is So if I do cross them std out, okay, easy enough. I'm going to assume that that is this guy. Yeah. Okay. So we have that. And so that means that now when we do the start app, we can do the start app terminal. And we're going to do probably move it. So exec means that the whole thing is exec. Okay. And now that is okay. It has to be mute. That's fine. And then that's it. So I think this is pretty good. And we have the read here. And now when we do the loop on the terminal, but then we don't do the await. So what we want to do is the thing that we are doing over there, which is that guy. We want to do that over here. Because this way, so we don't want exactly that, obviously, but okay, so this one is, we don't want that. So what we're going to want is we're going to want so we want this event. So when we have a key here, we want to do that. But now the way we get it, we're going to do a maybe rx receive, I think, await. And then we're going to do a match. That's correct. And good. And then we have none. We're going to do what we're going to do here. We're going to do nothing. And then if we have some of, oh, that's cool. So now that is a cool thing about Rust is we can have app event, key event, key event. And we're going to do something like that. If key press, key code, we exit. And then if we have some of app event, data event, right now there's nothing inside. Then we're going to do a println, which is going to be super ugly. And then data event. And it's actually data event. And then we'll add a debug. Okay. Now, why does this guy doesn't like it? Okay, fair enough. That is a key event, but I think over there, event key. What is that? If let, okay. No, I'm not sure why. This is this guy. Source event. Oh, okay. I need to do a if let. One more if let. So key event, and then let's say if let That's pretty good. That was Copilot. I think it did good. And we're going to say if this, okay. And then the data event here complains because if we go to our data event, we need to have a derived debug over there. So that's it. I think we are pretty good on this one. Almost good. Join handle here. And that is because why it doesn't like it. Mismatch, Tokyo join handle, result. Okay. I think I'm returning a result here somewhere. So over there, I'm returning a result here. So I'm going to do return. Okay. Not return. Return. Let me think here. We don't do a return because we're inside a block. How do you like Ratatouille so far? I like it a lot. I've been looking a little bit. So here's the things that I'm putting a little bit, and it was a little bit off in a way in this session, but it's something I was going to learn anyway. So this one might be unlisted, this stream, because I don't know if there's a, that people want to watch it later. So feel free to keep it. I would keep it unlisted. Sometime I had a message that I need to make sure it's okay, but the point is, I like Ratatouille a lot. I think it's kind of the de facto to build kind of highly interactive application. There's one thing that needs to really be resolved one way or another, and they have an awesome documentation. It's the app model. Yeah. So that is one thing that we're spending quite a bit of time. Rather to go with some of the example, the architecture that I'm taking is this one where you have a loop that get all of the key events. You can have data changes events, and you can have as many events as you want. And they all get sent into an app event channel. And the TUI app listen to these app events. And then it decide what to do. Once we have that, things can be very powerful because, for example, one thing that we can do is you can have a key event. And then our application code will say, well, it's a key event, but he is the widget which is selected, somehow. And then in this case, I can send the key event to the widget first, for example. So that might allow to do some pretty interesting things once we have this model. So that's why I like a lot to use the channels to do these kind of things. And sometimes the example, because I'm going to have kind of a database actually even behind. But for me, yes, Ratatouille, I think it's top notch. And the documentation, I mean, you can see that it's a very robust stuff. For me, the story, Axum, Ratatouille, those are the three big things to make UI. You have cross-term. If you don't need to have a full app, cross-term is pretty good. It's what I use in AI Pack right now. But I do want to use Ratatouille. And I use a little bit of Ratatouille, but not the right way. Because I needed to build that. So that is what I needed to build. So let me see here. I'm going to... So now this is complaining. That's fine. We're okay with that. Cannot borrow app as mutable. It declared as mutable. That's fair. And we can do, because we take the ownership, so we can do mute. Okay, it's completely fine. Then Clippy is saying, hey, this is silly. And I think he's right. If let can be collapsed into stuff, yeah. Can you do it for me? No, I'm not going to do fix using Copilot. Every time I do that and I use AI a lot, love AI. The more you use AI, the better it is. Just that this one doesn't do. The autocomplete does pretty good job, but this one I'm not even giving a try because I didn't commit. And I know it's going to all, there's 90% chance where it's going to start changing other stuff. So what he's saying is completely right. We have two guys over there where I could have done, well, so that is one thing where I don't want, do I want to collapse it? Because if I put it there, I could do app event and event key there. I could do that. Yeah? This is something I could do. It's funny that they have key events. What do they have? Oh, okay. See, it's my naming that is confusing. It's my naming that is confusing. I'm going to do cross-term event. So my naming was making the things confusing because then it's like, why do you have a key event and then a key event? But in fact, you have an event, and then inside event, you have focus gain, focus loss, and all this kind of cool stuff. I'm going to use that mostly, but eventually stuff. Yeah, I need to talk. Zed has a way to give guards fences around AI changes. Yeah, I'm using my, like for me, I'm using my AI pack for things that I like a lot. So, it's a whole different story, but I don't want, so I have AI pack for these kind of things. And for the autocomplete, I'm okay with stuff. So now this is a little bit better. So cross-term event could be term event, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to make it term event. So we had this, and then inside that, we have this guy, and what he's telling us is, hey, you don't need to have this. You could just have that, I guess. And he's right in many ways. But then if we press save, so this one I'm going to have to import it. That's the cross-term events. They re-export it, but well, with stuff. And now this one is going to say, hey, you didn't missing match, yeah, which is fine. And then we're going to have this one like that, and we're going to have it's a missing match. We don't really care. Okay. So that is one thing. The thing I don't like, it's not clear that is a missing of that in this kind of case, but that's fine. Of a sub of this, but it's okay. So we are going to do that. And if that works, so this one is going to be disappointing, yes, but I'm going to be very excited actually. So I'm going to do CWE, which is cargo watch, execute -- example, run -- example things, and then I'm going to do a C02. So that is a cargo run -- example. That's just with a watch. And then tin reader. Tin is terminal input reader. It's a terrible name, but then if I press, I pick fail. Oh, no. It might work because I didn't, I forgot to do the thing. I forgot to add the plus. No. And if I press Q, epic fail. Okay, that's fine. And nothing works. I go back there. So I'm not going to do a cargo wash now because I don't know, what broke. So I'm going to cargo run -- example C02 tin reader. So the good news is we get that. That's good. And then when we await over there, something is not happening right. Yeah. And because I don't get any events over there. And I think we're going to debug that. going to go back. Cloud cause that model AI interaction makes more sense. Yeah, for me, it's again, I have, well, actually, I'm going to show it here. Yeah, let's do that here, actually. The thing here, there's something missing here. So I'm going to git add, git c plus c0 tin reader first pass not working yet. In fact, often when I do that, I don't do a plus, I do my convention is to do that. And I'm going to do a git GPO, such as you can find it. I might merge all of the things, so you might have to do a git push, git pull reset later. I don't know. So now let's do that. Will I do that or not? I will do that. So I'm going to do a key. So that is a stream that I've done today. I have a little thing that get back the keys into the environment variable from my keychain. It's a little hack, but it's a good hack. So now I have AIP. So AIP is AI pack. So if I go to aipack.ai, that is my AI pack. It's 15 megabytes, all included. And you put your keys, and then you're happy kids. And then you have something which is AIP install pro coder. And then you do AIP install pro rust 10x, which is my best practices. And then you do AIP run rust 10x, rust 10x pro coder. And then boom, you have a file as the prompt. And it's a parametric prompt because you can put variables here. So we're going to put, say, cargo, because we are in the Rust side. We are going to give all of the source, that's correct. And then the only thing, and we can give all our examples as well. So the difference with everybody else is one AI pack is very generic. It can allow you to create agent for something else. There's one agent, which is only 20 kilobytes on disk or 30 kilobytes on disk, which allows you to do this pro-coding stuff, which is pretty close to what you get with others. And so right now, what we're going to do is it's a glob, so I can do a C01, 01, comma C02, and I'm going to do star.rs. Okay, so I'm giving all the source guys, and plus these two guys, but not this guy, okay? Now I'm going to use Gemini 2.5. I like it. I can use Claude. I'm going to do true. And I'm going to do gpro, which is my alias. And that below is the answer, and above is my prompt. And now I say, somehow the C02 tin reader does not work, does not seem to get the keyboard events. Can you just fix the code needed and explain? Okay, and then you press R for replay, and that will go back there in Google gpro, and then we'll see what it does. So now, while it's doing that, we can work in parallel here. And Gemini 2.5 has been kind of slow for me these days, but Light is super fast, but Light is not super good. So one of the things here is that somehow it doesn't get the UI. It doesn't get the event, so I run it like that. So that works nice. And then I do a match app receive. And then, oh, run tin. Oh, you know what? Okay, will that help? It shouldn't. Ah. Okay. No, okay, I got lucky here. It changed just when I changed it. So that is a new delay, break, send. Okay, press save, works. Okay. So that's funny. So I think that is what I added. So now actually I tell you here. So the cool thing is here. So what I do usually, I pin this guy on. I have it the first on the left. And I have it like that. Somehow things took me 1 minute, 7 cents. That the prompt tokens, Gemini adapter, 6 file in context, makes sense. 0 file, oh yeah, because I didn't give my best practices. But if I wanted to give my best practices, I could do like that. And that would be, it's like rules in cursor. Missing a wait on async call in absent. Oh, epic fail. Look at that. I was missing an await there. So that makes sense. So now I'm going to do another terminal. Going back there, and I'm going to do a cargo run -- example. And I'm going to do a C01, C02, tin reader. Oh yeah, that is all ugly because it's stuff, but everything is working good. And now I need to stop this println business because that, oh, that's funny. Println the error. Was it println the error? No. Key event stuff. Okay, that's fair. So who is doing that? There's some guy here printing. Well, I can check here. Println. Yeah. So when you're in the terminal and Ratatouille, you take over, it's called in raw mode. And in raw mode, you take care of the whole layout and which character goes where and so on. So if you just do a println, it's going to println a little bit random places. So you want to be careful about those. You can, print it. Like on this one, we don't have data event, so we could do it and then it will look silly. But so we do the queue, cargo run, and then that's it. And then when I press, remember what we decided to do here. We do the event, and it's only when I press Q that I return. And then there's no data change yet. And then if I press anything else, I will do another loop. But at the top of the loop, I do a C+1, and then I print C here. That's why this is going on. Anything I press goes there, and Q, I get out. And this is pretty cool. So I'm going to do the amend, and I'm going to do, sorry here, if you have it, you're going to have to do commit something, a git pull reset or something like that. Because like this, we don't have to keep the bad one here. First pass, tin reader, and that is pretty cool. So the cool things about this approach here is, again, what we've learned here, the first one, C01 simple, is just a terminal, you init it, put it in raw mode, then we have the terminal here clear, we do the run, and then the run is just, nothing is async, and just draw the terminal, do a loop infinite, and then wait for the keys to be pressed, and then it goes back up, and then it does that again and again. On the tin reader here, it's, in a way, it's C02, but it's much higher from a flow standpoint. It's doing the init, and then we do the exec app, and then on in this case, we create the channel, which is our application event channel, and then we are giving the application TX to our terminal read, and we can rename that term read. That will be okay. And that will be our term reader. And that will be our term reader. So term is better than this tin business. Okay, press save. And so now what we're doing is we're So we're starting the terminal term reader task. And then we are running, running. And then we are running our TUI application. So that will run again and again on this guy. Now, the cool things about that, it looks silly here, but actually, for me, I'm very happy because now, with this little code here, and this is why I like to learn like this, because I can do libs of things that are more, if I put that below, it would have been a mess. But here I can kind of organize it a little bit like I will do in a real app. Yeah, I have my app event. I have my term event over there, which is this guy. And then I have my data events. And then this is my lib. And then I have my term reader. So that is pretty cool. So I'm going to add that, git add, and I'm going to go to C. And that is kind of a minor rename, rename to C02 term reader. And then I forgot to add it. Oh, did I? Oh, no. Git log. Status, GPO, boom, you have it on your side. So that's it. And so, yeah, we use the things there. It kind of was a little bit long, but not too long, actually. Yeah, how much did it cost? 1 minute. Sometimes we get impatient. That was not too bad. And then it did solve the things the right way. I forgot to have an await. So one of the silly things that I had, that's why it was not reading, is with I do the term reader, I didn't have an await here. Yeah, so that is a thing. So it's working pretty good. So I think it's good for today. There's more things that I might do later. I might do another stream, probably not today or another day. We're going to go back to the stream as well of the Redis stream business. And on Monday, on Saturday, there's a cool video coming. And that is, let me show you here. I'm going to give you stuff here. And this one is pretty cool. I'm very happy with that video, which now it doesn't have. Well, okay, so now I'm confused because I don't have. I'm going to show it to you on my webpage. That's weird. So that is what we're going to have. But no, but I don't have the nice. I've lost my nice. I have a nice thumbnail. Somehow I've lost it. So let's see if I can. Okay, I have it here. So this is what we're going to have on Saturday. So it's going to be pretty cool. So I have 2 long streams, a stream of 3 hours, kind of total, about using Redis stream or Valky into to do a message queue, and then I put all of it into a 30 minutes. And so it shows the consumer groups and all this kind of thing. So it's pretty cool. So on Saturday morning, here, this video is going to be, I'm pretty happy with that. We kind of compact it. And so this one, I might compact it as well. I might rename, I don't know if I'm going to keep, yeah, this repo is tricky. I wanted to do kind of more UI learning kind of things of Ratatouille. But for me, this mode is very important to not listen. I don't think we want to listen key events here and do a loop of key events. And it's what all the example does, which is fine. But I think is when you are building an app, you want to have an abstraction layer where you are going to listen your events. Some events might be key events, obviously, yeah, that are key or mass or cross-term events. But some events might be other things, and it's not, the UI shouldn't listen to multiple things. It just should listen to one stream. And so that is what we're doing with the channels here over there. And I think it's pretty cool. Okay. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Oh, sorry, I kind of hidden some of the stuff here. And then that's it. Hopefully it was helpful to some. I needed to learn that, so this was not a teaching video in a way. It was something I needed to do and to play with, and I did it live. So feel free to keep the link. I might put it unlisted for a little while or for longer. I don't know yet. But otherwise, when I do lives now, public lives, they always stay public. So I don't put them behind paywalls anymore. But we have you can join the channel to have early access to videos like the one I showed you. And then we have office hours also twice a month. Okay, until next one, happy coding.